Hey everyone, welcome to my first GML tutorial for GameMaker Studio version 1.2 is what I have here. Today we're going to make a platformer using code that I've spent hours and hours perfecting to the point where I can memorize it without having any notes here and I can just show you. So we're gonna make a new file. Let's just call it tutorial because if all goes well, this video may be the first of a series, and I will be adding things to the platformer as we go along. So, first of all, we're going to create a sprite by clicking this little Pac-Man guy up here, and I don't believe in naming sprites because it's pointless. So, I am going to just make a simple player. So first, let's just, oops, gotta zoom in. And I like pixel art, so I'll just do something simple here. Oops. Just to give it a little, make it a little more fun to look at. Because you don't want to be staring at some stupid, little box going on across the screen. I don't know. Maybe you do. Who knows? So, now let's give our player life by giving him a mouth and an eyeball. And we will fill his eye with white. Cool. So that's our guy, and he's facing to the right, and that's good. So we're going to make his origin here, x0, y0. We're going to click center to make it 16 by 16. And that is specifically used for rotation. Like if he faces left, it'll turn him around exactly at the center instead of at the top right corner, or top left corner, or whatever. So next we're going to make a sprite for the ground. So let's do something simple for the ground also. I suppose I could follow the same mechanic that I did before and just do like this and like this, and then I don't know, let's just do something simple. That's not gonna work out, is it? Okay, never mind. Just to give it the feel of like dirt. Let's give it a nice brown here. And put a brown outline along there, which actually that is usually not how I shade things. I usually do it like this. So that looks good. Okay, so this is the ground, and you don't need to give this an origin because we're not going to be flipping it. So, first we're just going to cover movement and jumping, and then later we're going to cover such things as enemies and enemy AI and possibly like shooting or platforms that you can jump from underneath and then land on the top, maybe ladders, I don't know. Suggest anything you'd like to see and I'll see if I can do it. So first we're going to make our player object, so we'll call this player. And the reason I don't like to name my sprites is because then I don't have to do this stupid OBJ player, I can just do player. And it still keeps everything organized. So the player, we're going to do create and set the gravity to 1 and set, well, you know what, we don't need friction. Do we need friction? Let's do a little bit of friction. Let's do friction equals 0.5. And then we're also going to do a variable called canJump, and we're going to set it to false right away. Now, before we continue, we're going to create another object, which is ground, I guess. And we'll set that to that, and we're going to make it solid. Now this is a Noob's tutorial, this is for beginners, and only if you are advanced in GML I recommend you find a tutorial that does not use solids, because solids create more problems than they fix, but for a beginner it's really a good way to learn. So make sure that's solid. Now in the player object we're going to do step, and then add some code. And here we are going to use good coding practices and do movement, but actually before that we're going to do gravity. So the double / does comments, and I believe you can also do that, and then this is a comment, and this is also, no, I'm wrong. Okay, well, whatever. Okay, anyway, for gravity, we're going to basically check to see if the space below the player is free, and if it is, set the gravity to 1, and if it's not, set the gravity to 0. So first is if place free x, y plus 1, that's 1 pixel below the player, then gravity equals 1, and else gravity equals 0. So basically, if 1 pixel below the player is free of solids, then it sets the gravity to 1, so he falls, and if it's not free, so there is a solid there, then it's set to 0, so he doesn't fall. So now, another note for movement, we're going to use... I see a lot of people who want to use WASD, and if I'm going to do things like shooting later, I'm going to want WASD. So if you want keyboard movement, this is how you do it. You do if keyboard check VK right for the right arrow key, the same as left, up, and down, and then VK stands for virtual key. So, but we're not going to do the arrow keys, we're going to do WASD. So, do that, you do ORD, another parentheses, colon, or quotation, and then this is going to be the left, so it's A, and it has to be capitalized, and you have to put 2 there to close it. So we're going to do that. And then I'm also just going to copy this. I recommend you retype it if you're still learning, just to memorize it. So I'm going to change this one to D, so it's left and right here. So for the left movement, we're going to do hspeed minus equals 5, actually 1. And then for the right movement, we're going to do hspeed plus equals 1. So if you add to hspeed, it moves right, and if you subtract to hspeed, horizontal speed, it moves you left. Okay, now I suppose we'll do jumping. No, actually we're going to limit the speeds. Because you don't want, because what this does here is when, as long as the D key is held down, it's adding 1 to his hspeed every step, which I believe is like a 30th of a second or something. So we don't want, because so basically if you held it down for long enough, he would just keep getting faster and faster and faster. We don't want that to happen. We want him to stop once he reaches a certain speed. So we're going to do if hspeed is greater than, let's see, let's do 5, then hspeed equals 5. So if his hspeed moving right goes faster than 5, then it's just going to set it back down to 5. And if hspeed is less than -5, then hspeed equals -5. So that's for right. Now we're going to do jumping. So, obviously, in order for jumping to exist, there has to be gravity, which we already set our gravity in the create event. So, right now, we are going to do if keyboard check VK. What should we use for jumping? Should we use space? Let's do space. VK space. And, which is double ampersand, which just means and, or you can say and, but good coding practice is to do that. And we're going to do and can jump equals true. Then basically what this is it checks if the spacebar is pressed down and the variable can jump is set to true. And if you press the space and the variable can jump is set to false, it won't execute this. It'll only execute it if both these things are true. So we're going to do vspeed minus equals, let's do 15. So what this does is it sets his vspeed to minus equals 15, basically moving him up in the air, because when it comes to x and y, or I mean when it comes to hspeed, it's positive is right and negative is left, but with vspeed, positive is down and negative is up. So that's how you do that. And then we're going to also in here set can jump to false, because if you didn't do that, he would just be able to keep jumping over and over again. And this can jump, and you're wondering how do you set it back to true? Well, we're going to go into the collision with the ground. And here we're going to do move contact solid direction 0. So basically this moves to contact a solid object. You can also do move contact all if you are not using solids. In this tutorial we are using solids though. This checks basically whatever direction the player is moving in, and the max distance is 0. So next we're going to do 4 lines of code, which are all going to be the same. So I'm going to copy and paste them, and I actually recommend you copy and paste them unless you like typing the same thing over and over again. But of course, to learn, it is nice to do that. So we're going to check if place meeting, and here I'm just going to type x, y, You know what? I will type it all for you anyway, just to make it easier. So we're going to do x plus 1, y, ground. Then, so that's if if place is meeting 1 pixel to the right of the player with the ground object, then h speed equals 0. And then we're going to do 1 pixel to the left. So if place meeting x minus 1, y, ground, then h speed equals 0. And then we have to do up and down. So if place meeting x, y plus 1, ground, then h speed equals 0. Or no, that would actually be v speed equals 0 for up and down. And if place meeting x, y minus 1, ground, then v speed equals 0. Okay, so that basically checks in all 4 directions, and stops you. If you were to walk into a block, it will stop you in any direction. This is only necessary with solids, of course. So, anyways, and now you were wondering earlier how we are going to set the can jump variable back to true, so he can jump again. Well, we're going to check to make sure he can jump again once he touches the ground, so he can only jump when he's touching the ground, basically. So can jump equals true. Alright, now I believe that's everything. So now we're going to make a room, and we will just call this room 0 because we don't have any reason not to. Objects. Let's put some nice little ground blocks in here. Hold Control and Shift to place multiple objects. Guess we'll do this and this and this, I guess. I don't know how high we can jump yet because I haven't tested it. Make a simple stage and put the player down. And just for feel, we will give this place a sky color. Just for the hell of it. Alrighty. So. Now as you can see, we move with WASD, and we jump with space, and he does not jump nearly high enough to get up there. But if you noticed, when I touch the bottom of a block or the side of a block, I can still jump. I did this on purpose so you could learn. Because obviously that's a problem unless you like this game mechanic, being able to just hold space and just fly up things, because that's obviously a problem. I'm going to show you how to fix that now. And this may be a long video. For those who know, I might add like annotations showing where you learn certain things. I don't know. So, in order to fix that, we're basically going to go back into the ground collision and change this. So, we're going to get rid of that, and we're going to make it, see, this is the collision with the top of a block, basically. So we're going to get rid of the then, and we're going to do the curly brackets instead. Then we're going to do h speed equals 0 and can jump equals true. And that will fix that problem. And as you can see, when we build and test, oops, I broke it. I'm sorry. Okay. Can jump equals true. I swear I did this good. Oh, well, not x plus 1. Yeah, what am I thinking? Okay, it's not x plus 1. Sorry about that, you guys. So you change that back. It's y plus 1. I hope if you guys are good programmers, maybe you'll notice that I screwed that up and you'll call me out on it. But speed equals 0 and can jump equals true. I don't know what I was thinking doing the h speed or the x one. I have no idea why I thought x was up and down. I obviously need to go back to math class. So now we can jump just fine, and we can only jump when we touch the bottom of a block, not when we touch the side, or not when we touch, or I mean when we touch the top of the block, not the top, or not the bottom or the side or whatever. Okay, so that is our movement perfected. And you know what? I actually might leave out him being able to jump too high just so I can maybe do a double jump later. But I guess if I'm going to do that, then I'll just go back and change it. So for now, I'm actually going to change his jump height to 25 instead of 15, so he can jump high enough to get up on top of these. Whoa, that's really high. Should have just changed that to 20. I can't even get up there because of that. Okay. So, guess I'll change that to 20. Stupid compiling window gets in the way all the time. Okay. And who knows if 20 is too high still too, but I'll probably just leave it regardless of if it's too high. I hope this video quality is high enough to be able to read the code, but it should be. Now he's actually moving quite slow, so I actually might make him go faster later, but we won't deal with that for now. So that is the basics of moving and jumping. I suppose well, you know what? Yeah. In the next tutorial, I will go into more stuff, and I don't know what it's going to be yet, but I hope it's something cool. If you have anything you'd like me to try out, then please post it in a comment, and if you like the video, you can click the like button if you want, or possibly subscribe if you want to be alerted for the next upload. Thank you guys. Have a nice day.